My first year starting out on Turo, I'm going to tell you what I did right, what I did wrong, and what came about with the whole situation where I transitioned to it. So let's go. Hey guys, if you're new to the channel, my name is Mr. Luke Evan Brooks and welcome to Car Share Genius. I am the host of Car Share Genius, where I talk to people about how you can turn your vehicle into an asset that can make you money, whether semi-passive or passive, and along with that, working remotely. You want to know more? There's a link down below where you can check that out, and we'll talk about other products as well too. So today we're going to talk about what my first year was like when starting out with Turo. So the first thing I want to back up on is that when I did Turo at the very beginning, I was hesitant at first because I talked to some of my co-workers, talked to some of my classmates that we were going to come together and really have a massive fleet. And a lot of people backed out. A lot of people just stopped talking. A lot of people start doing odd things where they thought that, hey, you can just park your car 300 miles away and let someone rent it out, when that's not really feasible right there. So how it all began was that I was living in Bahrain, which I am living in now, and I already had 2 cars on Avel. Avel used to be a company I talked about, and there's a video over here that you can check out here that talks about the whole Avel situation and how it just went left. And with that being said, is that everything was going well. I wasn't getting paid a whole lot, but I was getting paid a decent amount because they were doing all the work. One thing you had to do is just give them the key and they manage your car, supposedly. I was heading home, Charlotte, North Carolina, and when I went home, I got a phone call from Avel saying, hey, you need to come pick up your vehicle. Now, I was about to buy another vehicle. I was about to buy an SUV. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, some things came up. I said, like what exactly? And they say, well, basically, we need you to pick up your vehicle because we're going out of business. So they told me to get there. It just happened to be I was flying in there because they only gave people 2 weeks to pick up their vehicles. So when that took place, I basically went to pick up my vehicle and it was dead on arrival. I had 2 vehicles. I had a Ford Fusion and I had a Nissan Sentra, and it didn't go too well when I asked why my vehicle dead, because they supposed to make sure your car is well maintained, oil changes, jump starts it and whatnot, and they were doing a lot of fishy things. Because if you brought in a newer car, because those cars were 2019 and this happened around 2022, I believe, when you bring your car onto the platform, it should be ready to go, no issues. But when they were like, oh, this car hasn't been driven in a while, it's because they wouldn't book in the vehicle. And that's what kind of threw me off. It's just like they were going for the latest vehicle, which is not fair. A vehicle's vehicle as long as it's running. That's my honest opinion. And the guy recommended to me that, hey, a lot of people are renting these cars out on Turo. That might be a backup plan. And I said, okay. So I said, let me look into it. And he told me, say, hey, are you financing these cars? And those are the 2 I was financing. And he's like, okay, like, you definitely might want to check out Turo, because I just had a guest who literally bought a vehicle. He bought 5 vehicles, paid $100,000, and he's being told a few days later they can't rent them out onto Avel. And Avel went away, and that was the whole story. So when I got onto Turo, I did take a course. I did learn how to do Turo. I started studying it, and I did learn some mistakes and some positive things that I didn't learn from the class. So getting on there, I worked with a team, had my team come together, and we basically created automation. We had automation put in place. We had ways where we could track the vehicles, of course, with GPS, but taking that data and applying it to real time, meaning that when do we need to get an oil change? When is this part likely going to break? And so forth. First year was wow because it was so fast. Everything was coming in very, very fast. So when you rent it out, initially you have no ratings. No one knows who you are. They don't know you from a can of paint. So that's why I make it important that you make sure your description is very well detailed and that you got pictures in the right area. So we managed to get all the pictures, we got everything lined up. I did encounter people that was sketchy. You will counter that depending on your price. That's why I say don't put your car at the lowest price. If you don't have to do that, don't try to race to the bottom. It's not advisable. Don't want the wear and tear on your vehicle. So going through there, I did learn that, hey, you will deal with all different types of customers depending on where you're from. For me, being in the area, I was at the university area, I did deal with mostly the folks in that community. You might have people come in on the airport side and they will just fly in, and that might be different too for you if you don't deal with the airport. But I was dealing with international airports, so I was dealing with folks that did not even live in the United States, so I had to verify what was going on with their license, because they show you a license, but it's not a license in the United States. So that was one thing too. I did have people do silly things when I brought out my Dodge Charger, which a Dodge Charger can work if you do the right measurements, if you put the right things in your Dodge Charger so people don't seem like, oh, I'm going to be a speed racer. And I had to learn that. I learned that, going on ongoing process. Another thing that I did take in consideration too is that if you are dealing with guests that want to fight and argue, I always knew this because I dealt with sales before, is not getting to a shouting match. If they want to sit there and accuse you of things and you're right, just call Turo. That's the number one thing. Call Turo, explain it to Turo in a controlled manner. Don't be in there all emotional, cussing, things like that. Talk to them in a normal aspect, because 9 times out of 10, that guest that you're talking to is talking real crazy. They're going to start talking, cussing, things like that. And they're going to be like, well, the host called in real calm to say, hey, this is what happened. I have pictures. I just feel like this person's leaving disparaging remarks on the review. Reviews, speaking of, before they went through this whole matrix system that they're going through now, I hit All-Star the first time around. So it took to April to get that remark. And when I had All-Star, it was just straight to a race. I had cars going in and out because we looked at the methods of what we were doing. We're able to look at different systems to get a comparison of what was being rented out in an area. If it was a car that I had, like let's say Nissan Sentra, I can look up and see how many Nissan Sentras are in Charlotte and be like, hey, how old are they? What they offering? Meaning, what are they offering based off of location? Are they dropping off more in one location? Is it the price? Are they offering free gas? Are they offering unlimited miles? Things like that. And then do a calculation, be like, okay, based off this, I can rent my car off this amount. I also dealt with a lot of maintenance. This was the first time I dealt with maintenance. My friend and my classmate from school named Ozzy Stamey, he basically helped me out here, and he just worked on the cars. He made sure all the cars were well kept and well conditioned. We did bring another car onto the platform too, and that really got me excited when I bought the SUV. We didn't buy the SUV right away with that whole change on that first year, but we did get an SUV a few months later, and been working with it totally since, and I was happy. And the fleet is growing. Now, what is the takeaway from this? The takeaway is that you need to keep going forward. Don't be like the guy who got 5 cars, and from what I heard, he took them right back to the lot, so he took a loss. I had 2 car notes. I knew that these cars would be sitting around because these are not the typical cars that I drive. And I got in this a long time ago because I was with Avel for maybe 2 years from that point before they did all this whole stuff. I felt like at the end of the day, you can make a serious impact with your fleet. And then I had to overcome doubt. I had to tell myself that, hey, yeah, you're not living in America. You're in another country and you're trying to do this remotely, and it succeeded. And we had our ins and outs. I learned how to communicate well with my team. I knew how to communicate with my guests, and it just seems like I'm there right now. And this is something that I offer. I teach people this on a regular basis. I have a book called Starting Out on Turo. This book right here walks you through the steps that I learned when I went through the A through Z. This is the basic 101. And then I have the interactive course. This course is what I put every time I did my journals, every time I did my video outlets, this is what I put out that helped people know what was going on. And this was really, truly a true aspect to everything that deals with Turo, the ins and outs of it. Now, you can take advantage of it. If you're watching this video right now, if you go down to the link down below, you can actually see the contents of both products and take advantage of it. Don't sit around, don't wait, don't be in a part where you're just like, hey, I don't know if I'm actually gonna do this or not. Because into my mindset, before doing the whole thing, when I was talking to my classmates, talking to friends, all of them backed away because they were scared or they didn't want to go into it. They'd rather just be comfortable. And for me, I always lived a life where I was uncomfortable. I left America to come all the way to another country, to come to Bahrain to serve my country. And with that in mind, it kind of really put me in a perspective of, hey, if you're able to do this overseas, what else can you do overseas? And that's what really made it count the most. So before I continue on, I want to thank the folks that have recently subscribed to the channel. I want to appreciate you so much as far as what you've done. I wish that I could just shake your hand or whatnot, because it really helped me out. It really told me that I am talking to the right people, the people who really want to have something, people who really want to grow. If they're thinking about Turo, they know, hey, this guy's been through it. He's looked through all these things or whatnot that was going on with his business and continue to go on, the ups and the downs. Because I'm going to tell you something. If someone's telling you that, hey, you join my program, you won't have no problems, they're lying to you. You're always going to encounter the unknown, which is going to be your customers. You get all types of customers. I will tell you that right now. That's one factor no one can determine, because if you could, you'll be easily be able to get away from the bad customers. You're always going to have some bad customers. The question is at the rate of how many can you get. And I've talked about that in the book and the course on how to avoid those people or how to reduce those chances. I do want to say too that we're going to start bringing more people on here. We're going to start doing interviews with other hosts. We're going to do interviews with some of the mechanics that I dealt with, and it's going to be more interactive, guys. So I thank you again, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. I wanted to get this video out because I owed y'all a video from last week. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Again, guys, check out these videos that I have out here. These are recent videos, or a video if you've seen it. And let me know what you think down below in the comments about the first year. If you're doing Turo now as a host, or recently as a host, what are your thoughts about it right now? Do you think it's still going to go on for you? Are you going to grow your fleet? What is it that's stopping you if you're saying, hey, I want to do Turo, but I don't know yet? Let me know down below. Again, guys, talk to you later. Take care.